this project with a 30-day challenge where we were not allowed to spend money on anything that we considered a want. The purpose of this was to distinguish between the wants and the needs in our lives.
Today is March 15th and we're halfway through the no spending challenge. We both kind of failed so far in the want section. I bought 2 Glossier lip balms and Summer bought.
I ordered on Skip. I spent $27 so far, which is still substantially less than I usually spend in a month.
Yeah, I kind of bought it because it was the first time it came back in stock since Glossier came to Canada. And I was like, now or never, I gotta get it now. Not a very needed purchase to make. I have plenty of lip balm and plenty of other things I could use.
Something I was thinking about is this challenge that we've been doing is almost like cheating, because for both of us our spending mainly came from at lunch, just forgetting to pack a lunch, and then we'd go to a drive-thru and get food. And that's where most of our spending came from. But since we're both doing this challenge of not spending, that's not something that's a temptation anymore. Versus if it was only one of us attempting to do this challenge, it would be a lot harder.
We wanted to focus on fast fashion, how so many are caught in a cycle of buying cheap clothes, barely wearing them, and then donating them soon after. Project took a turn when we sent an email looking for a short virtual interview to an organization that helps reduce Canada's food waste.
Hi, I'm Julia Kramer. I'm the Winnipeg City Coordinator for the Leftovers Foundation.
Alright, hi Julia. Alright, so what is the story behind Leftovers?
So we have a dual purpose mission. It is to reduce food waste and increase food access. So this all came from our founder, Lourdes, seeing food waste happening in her local community and knowing that there were people in her community that were going hungry. There was a solution, a clear solution, and long story short, that's where Leftovers came from. We have an app that Lourdes created, and that's how we connect food donors to service agencies.
We've already learned a little bit about this today, but how does this company function?
So our app is our main functionality. That's where we run our program, Rescue Food. It is a solution that takes food directly from donor straight to service agency, all through the work of volunteers. So the app is our central logistics management. It's where we do all of our volunteer management. It's where we see all of our impact come from, this kind of user-generated content, because volunteers will pick up from the food donor, load their car, drive it straight to a service agency, and then fill out the questionnaire survey at the end of the route to let us know the weight and details about the donation.
Alright. What measures do you take to ensure that food waste is diverted from landfills?
So we try to never have food waiting to be used. Our model allows food to be taken directly to the service agency rather than sitting in a warehouse, rather than needing to be sorted and processed. We match food donors to service agencies who can use the product that's being rescued.
Okay. How do you educate and engage businesses and consumers about the importance of reducing food waste?
think we're in a time right now where we're extremely aware of what food waste is doing to the environment. Food waste is a huge contributor to climate change, and there's more demand on companies, on businesses to be responsible, to put practices into place that are going to make them more sustainable, to contribute to a more sustainable community that we live in. So addressing that within the food system is something that we're really proud to do.
So we loaded up our car with some donations and we're going to the Andrews Street Family Center to go give them some food.
And this is exactly how Leftovers is able to function, through the work of volunteers using their own vehicles to deliver food straight to the agencies in need.
Food at Andrews Family Center in the North End. Yeah, they had a lot of helpers coming out, and like Julia said, a lot of people's volunteers are people that just got out of the justice system trying to integrate back into society. So it's great to see some of these people come help us out with loading the stuff out of my car and into the building. What are the biggest contributors to food waste?
Okay, so the biggest contributors to food waste, I believe, okay, let me find the best way to say this. Capitalism. We have so much choice these days. We have communities that have several options of grocery stores and other communities that don't have any grocery stores. There is an abundance of not only choice, but an abundance of overproduction. We just make too much. The food that we waste in Canada, a third of it could feed the food insecure population.
And with that, it was time for the second delivery of the day. We loaded the car back up and headed to an agency located on Princess.
She is one of the biggest reasons that Leftovers is so successful. Hi, how was your walk today?
It was good, lovely.
She went on one of those walks where they, make sandwiches and do the whole production and
This was one of the amazing people we got to meet that day. Like Julia explains, she dedicates her days to helping her community, making the food deliveries like the two we did that day, and building relationships with everybody who surrounds her.
She makes soup for the walk.
Oh.
So she prepares it mostly with rescued food.
Yes.
Tries for it to be all rescued food.
Yes.
And then she portions it into soup
Containers that I
containers.
get donated by Kind Souls.
And she loads up her cooler and takes it down to Main Street and
Hands it out, yeah.
And they all hand it out. Yeah, it's a big group that goes out. There's the Downtown Community Safety Partnership, and OPK, and some action therapists, and all different kinds of people get together. And do
Lots
this
of people from different organizations choose to come.
It's crazy because food has such an extreme value, especially right now. The dollar value of food, we're experiencing inflation right now. It goes from being something with such a high dollar value to essentially seen as waste, right? It's we're often rescuing food that's at its best before, or they just made too much food that is still edible, but for some reason no longer sellable. And what's so cool about doing this is that we are able to continue to value that food, and not only are we, honoring the dollar value that it had, we're also honoring the labor that went into growing the food. the resources that went into growing, preparing, processing, transporting, packaging, all of the labor, the resources, the time, the effort that goes into it. We see food as valuable, all of its lifespan. So it's really important to honor the work that goes into, the human labor and the natural resources that go into producing food, right?
Julia leaves us with one final thought.
While leftovers provides a really innovative solution to a really complex problem like food insecurity, it's important to note that we